Over 100 days ago, I arrived in Australia from the US with little more than a visa, a backpack, and some savings. During this time, my main goal was to become self-sufficient and eventually thrive while starting from zero in a different country. This video is a documentary of that journey. All right, so this is where we're staying in Cairns. Dude, it is dumping outside. All right, guys, so I'm gonna give you the tour. Ooh, whoa. Man, I want a car.
Animal Planet, where are they, bro?
Yo. What in God's name is this? Starting with my first 30 days here, I arrived in Cairns, which is in the tropical north of the state of Queensland. My goals during my first month here were pretty simple. I was looking to find a place to work, a place to stay, and some sort of transportation. Day 10, I landed a room to rent in a share house. It's sure beats the hell out of living in a hostel. Day 12, I got a good old-fashioned push bike to get around. And day 31, I worked my first shift behind a bar here in Cairns. So my first 30 days here were really defined by the excitement that comes from living in a completely different country from where I grew up. Yo, they got a Zamboni thing to clean the street? Yeah, I didn't know they just post up like that. This money is so colorful. Yo, they got a petting zoo up in here? I miss having a dryer. And my struggle to find work over those 30 days. I'm beat right now, guys. If you're interested, I made a video completely dedicated to my first 30 days here, and I will try to link it above or in the description below. Going forward past day 30, I decided to set some new goals for myself. So my first objective was to get better transportation than my push bike. My second objective was to explore different areas around the region that I thought were interesting. Third was to go to a major city and explore that, as Cairns is quite a remote and tinier town in Australia. Day 36, I picked up an e-bike off Facebook Marketplace and finally picked up my first debit card here in Oz. Day 37, I bought a new rack for the e-bike. Day 38, went to Bunnings to pick up some hardware to install the rack for my bike. It's pretty much exactly like Home Depot back in the States. For some reason though, there's randomly the equivalent of a Starbucks in the middle of the hardware store. I also took a first aid course to try and get me a leg up when applying for a second part-time job. Day 40, I showed off the new e-bike to some friends. How do you like it? What's the verdict?
I like it. Fucking sick, bro.
Day 42, bugs were running rampant in my house. What kind of spider is that? Bro, it's a straight up dragonfly in the house. Oh my god. There's so many. Day 43, my local mate gave me a big old piece of barramundi, which is a pretty popular fish up here in far north Queensland, and me and my roommate proceeded to absolutely butcher it.
Dude, that is an intimidating piece of fish right there. Look at this unit, bro. You're tearing that thing apart. Dude.
Struggle aside, it was pretty good. 8 out of 10. The next couple days, I went on a taste testing spree, basically grabbing anything that I'd never seen in the US. It's just like a chicken flavored Cheeto. Day 47, I tried Weet-Bix. I know you're not supposed to eat it like this, but for some reason, it felt right to me. Judging by the fact that it's a cereal brick, my expectations were very low, but I was pleasantly surprised. It's actually quite nice. It's like a healthy Rice Krispie treat. Day 48 was Anzac Day, and me and my friend Brett, or otherwise known as Brett the Threat, had the day off, so we went to Port Douglas and made a day out of it. If you're ever out in Cairns, you should definitely make your way up to Port Douglas. The drive there is super scenic. Anywhere you look online, pictures of Port Douglas are what you're gonna see advertised as Cairns. This was actually the first time I was able to make it to the beach here in Oz as well. And it was pretty crazy to see that there actually are nets for swimming out here, just to keep the jellyfish out from what I know. We also managed to catch some Aussie wildlife while out and about.
That's wild,
That's
dude.
the second time I've seen it.
There's so many.
Day 53, while cycling on my way to work, I got pulled over for not wearing a helmet, so I got one.
I hate this thing.
Day 54, literally the next day, I got hit by a car while cycling to work.
Is that what it's specific?
I spent the next 4 days in the hospital getting scans and eventually having a surgery to clean out the back of my knee, which had been cut pretty deep. My time here was probably the most stressed that I've been since arriving here in Oz. If I'm putting it bluntly, I'd been an idiot and didn't get any sort of travel insurance before coming here. So I was very concerned about what my hospital bill would be looking like by the end of this. After getting a surgery at the hospital, I was told that both my MCL and ACL had been ruptured, meaning they'd been torn, and that it may require a second surgery, but I was sent home in the meantime to recover. Going forward, days 60 through 70, my goals had to change, and I was focused solely on recovery and trying to make sure that I would actually be able to stay here in Oz instead of having to go home and recover back in the US. To be honest, I felt pretty trapped and stuck in my house, and I decided to just focus on what I could actually improve on. And during that process, I actually found myself enjoying just watching the little improvements that I made day by day.
Adapt, improvise, and overcome, baby. That's what it's all about.
All you normies walking around on 2 legs in the kitchen doing your chores, you're doing it wrong. The rolling chair is a complete vibe. We did it. Let's go. Oh my God.
Ooh.
On day 70, I was cleared to put weight on my injured leg, and I went to physical therapy for the first time. I also received confirmation that my medical expenses would be covered under workers' comp, which was a huge relief. Now, I know this is going to come up in the comments, so I'll address it here. Many of you might suggest that I should have gone through CTP or compulsory third-party insurance, which in Australia, drivers are insured under through registration. For me, this turned out not to be an option as I was the one at fault for the accident. Because I was in the opposing bike lane that goes against traffic laws, and so the fault for the accident was on me. Day 73 to day 77, I decided to challenge myself by doing a 5K on crutches.
It's crazy.
This was in part to try and explore some of the local areas and salvage my original goal of exploring the area. And in part, it was just to try and get myself out of the house and prevent myself from getting into a funk by being too stationary. Ironically, the next 20 days after this, I spent in a funk and mostly in my house. During this time, I was stuck kind of in a limbo of waiting to see whether or not I would need a second surgery and just kind of biding my time. I wish I could tell you I have some super profound insight from coming out of this kind of funk phase of the 20 days where I didn't do very much, but I think it's important to know that everybody has these kind of rough phases throughout life, and that's okay. At least for me, the one thing that did get me through this time period was I did continue to focus on 2 things that I did day in and day out. And one was just focusing on my physical therapy and recovery and making sure that I was sticking to my commitment to upload a video every week, no matter what. On day 87, I was finally able to start going to the gym again and started using machines. Finally, on day 101, a month and a half after my accident, I went into the doctor to get the verdict on whether or not I would need surgery. Got back from the doctor, found out that against all odds, my ACL and my MCL are both recovering and I may not need surgery. I'm telling you, it was that 5K challenge I did. Probably not, but anyways though, I'm flipping hyped right now. Let's go. So it's been about 2 weeks since I found out that I do not need to have surgery on my knee. Since then, I've been able to ditch my crutches and now I no longer need to wear a brace as well. I'm not racing in any triathlons anytime soon, but I've slowly been easing into doing more and more normal day-to-day activities and exercises. Originally, I came here to Australia to explore new career opportunities and living in a different country. Now that I'm firmly on the path to recovery, I'm really excited to get back to doing exactly that. And with that said, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.